Fascists fucking hate fat people because to them, we're living a symbol of degeneracy. And that and that's yet another reason you should love and support us.
You should love fat people because they're degenerate pieces of shit.
That's basically how I read that. Good morrow, everybody. My name is Robin, also known as Sunny Side Up Gal, and you are my Sunny Side Up pal. Good morning, good morrow, and good day. Hello, welcome. If you are new here, thank you so much for coming to my channel. Me really appreciate you. If you haven't already, please consider giving me a subscribe. And if you haven't already liked the video, go ahead and like it now because me know you're gonna like it. Me know you gonna like the video, okay? If it is giving you the option to hype it, please hype it because that has been very, very helpful for me to grow the channel because me trying to grow this channel. For my returning subscribers, oh my gosh, thank you so much for returning. That is amazing. We are friends and it feels like that. It really does. You guys are coming back every week according to the analytics on the YouTubers. And I appreciate you so much. I can't believe that you guys like come back to tune in. I mean, I tune in to other people that I follow and subscribe to. So is it unusual? No, I don't think, maybe, I don't know. But thank you so much for returning. And if you're a member, thank you so much for being a member. If you guys are like, member? What mean you? Membership. If you are not a member, check the link below and become a member today. It's only $2 a month, make you holla, and you get an extra video every weekend. It might not be, an amazing video like this one, but it is going to be still, some extra time with your mommy. And me is your mommy, okay? Today's episode, we are going to just jump right in, and it's going to be a FATLOGIC episode. I was told by a couple of people that y'all these were your favorite episodes. So I've got FATLOGIC episodes and I've got my copium dens. So guess what? This week, in honor of Pride Month,
I'm a bisexual.
We're gonna do both.
Bisexual.
Because I think because I enjoy doing copium and I enjoy doing FATLOGIC so much because they're so easy for me. I mean, FATLOGIC, I don't have to set up anything. There's no messing with audio. It's just me reading. And although I don't really read very well out loud. I can read. I can't read. I don't read out loud very well. We still have a great time. But because they feel so easy, in my opinion, I'm like,
that's laziness and it's reflecting.
But I think because they're so easy for me, I also have a lot of fun with it. And that is what reflects. And that's why people enjoy them. Let me know what you guys think. Is that why you enjoy them? Because I have a lot of fun with them? Me not know. So if you're not familiar with what FATLOGIC is, let me tell you what it is, okay? FATLOGIC is anything that deviates from the scientific facts of body weight management. This can range from fundamental misunderstandings of how biology and physics work to lengthy political diatribes about how everything is society's fault. Falling victim to FATLOGIC means accepting misinformation that will harm efforts to keep your body at a healthy weight or lose weight if you need to do so. You do need to do so. So do it now, today.
You need to do it.
All right, we are going to, let's just get into it. Okay, so the page is a little bit distorted, but that's because I wanted to be able to make sure, what am I saying? I wanted to ensure that you guys could see me clearly, obviously, but also still see the purple drywall because this is her channel too, okay? So you guys have the option. Let me know. We're still testing some things out. We're having fun every day, right? Let me know, do you like this better or do you like this better? What do you guys like better? Which is best? Me not know. All right, so let's have some fun. We're going to pick, my eyes looked crazy right there. Let's have some fun. We're going to pick some random ones and we're just going to read and chit and chat and talk a little trash. Let's begin. So this one popped up to me when I was fixing my setup here. How about you take some arsenic? I hate when a skinny bitch says, ooh, I'm so fat, or claims to be fat in any way. I'm such a fat ass. How about you take arsenic? Oh, but body dysmorphia. Nobody makes them say it out loud. It is fat phobic and annoying as shit. And I doubt I will change my mind. So can we all agree? I mean, I know it's Pride Month. Hello.
I'm a bisexual.
Can we all agree? The fat acceptance community has created this terminology, this term fat phobic, as a way. So I mentioned this in my last members video. So if you're not a member, $2 a month, you can go watch that video. It was about queerness is fatness, or fatness is queerness. I just talked about a bunch of people who are posting on that. I do plan on hitting some more, fat logical or fat acceptance talking points surrounding Pride Month this month, because it is Pride Month and your mommy is a bee. Fat phobia is a term that the fat acceptance community, I don't know if I'm saying this right, like they copied homophobia and just made it fat phobia. So like they what is the word that I'm looking for? Hold on a second. Appropriation. It is still appropriation. So they're appropriating homophobic, just changing it from homophobic to fatphobic so that so that people are afraid to kind of like not judge, but like kind of so that they can avoid any kind of like discrimination. Which is it discrimination, or is it just like, baby, you're just not healthy? You know what I mean? Reframing homophobia. But anyway, what I was getting at was, oh, but body dysmorphia, nobody makes them say it out loud. It is fatphobic. They are treating the term fatphobic exactly like the word homophobic. So if you're like saying something and someone's like, that's actually incredibly homophobic, you'd be like, whoa, that I need to like change, right? Because homophobia comes from hatred. Whereas fat phobia, am I fat phobic? Yes, I am. Fat phobia, it comes from to me, fat phobia is like, if someone's like, that's fat phobic, I'm gonna be like, I am fat phobic because I don't want to be fat. I'm afraid. I'm very much afraid of being fat because being fat is unhealthy. However, the fat acceptance community doesn't believe that. But they want to make people feel bad for being fat phobic in a way that somebody may feel guilty or bad for being homophobic, right? You hear that you're being homophobic, most normal people would try to change or like do better, right? And then this person is also like judging this other, I'm gonna say gal, for having body dysmorphia. No, body dysmorphia, I don't give a shit. It's still fat phobic. Body dysmorphia is like a mental disorder, so it's not really necessarily like I hate fat people so much I don't like my body. I feel like a lot of people with body dysmorphia, they don't even think about the people around them when they look at themselves. It's very much I'm not saying like selfish, like in a derogatory in a derogatory way, but like it is a very self-centered thing. Like it's not like they're thinking about other people and going, I don't want to be like that. It's more like they look at themselves in the mirror and they go, that's not what they see, what other people don't see, or they see themselves in a way that other people don't see themselves. Does that make sense? Listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm just chitting and chatting. Anyway, fat liberation, fat acceptance, fat phobia. But yeah, do you guys agree that fat phobia is just kind of like appropriating homophobia and trying to make it seem like if you are fat phobic, you are just full of hate and rage and all that jazz? It's a problem to me. It's a problem to me. Okay, I hope this is satire, but I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. Grocery store snacks are fat phobic. One is called Like Air, the other is Skinny Pop. Pancake flavored popcorn. Like still, even though it's like diet food, they still do like obesogenic stuff with it. Like, here, you're on a diet, here's some pancake flavored air. All right, so why would we want a food product that is supposedly like air? I don't know, maybe so that it fills you up faster? Wow, a mother who actually cares about her child's health and well-being. I can't see how anybody could possibly have a problem with. The cycle of obesity will stop with me, period. Just know that it may not work the way you want. I was active my entire childhood and was often in as many as 3 competitive sports in your life, or like at the same time, because I doubt it. Because sports, when you're a kid, is expensive. And I just doubt it. My mom watched everything I ate very carefully, but some genetic issues, lipedema and genetic insulin resistance. God, I feel like can we just agree like 3 years ago everybody just was there's a lipedema epidemic because everybody fucking got it. Everybody got lipedema. How? How did that happen? Is it perhaps that one person said they got lipedema and then everybody else was like, me too. Don't blame me, blame my lipedema. Fats. Okay, lipedema and genetic insulin resistance. Now, I will say that insulin resistance makes it very, very difficult to lose weight, but you can eat in a way that like you can eat in a way that outsmarts insulin resistance. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to it again. Mommy's going to talk shit about carbs, so if you don't like that, you can jump to this timestamp. If you are insulin if you are insulin resistant, listen up. Okay, so if you have PMOS, insulin resistance, if you're a type 2 diabetic, you have insulin resistance. What foods, my beautiful class, does insulin respond to? What foods does your body eat? What foods would you eat that would require your body to release insulin, which is a bad thing if you're insulin resistant, because that means that you're going to just have insulin and extra glucose storing in your body or floating around your body, which will in turn store as fat, because insulin is an anabolic hormone. It is a hormone that stores fat. It is a fat storage hormone. Look it up, Google it, just ask Google or whatever, what is the fat storing hormone? And it will tell you insulin. Okay. So what foods would you eat to ensure that your body is going to pump out insulin? Leave your answers below. If you said carbohydrates or sugar, you are correct. You are correct. So if you were insulin resistant, meaning your body does not respond well to insulin, meaning that if you have sugar or carbs in your bloodstream or glucose in your bloodstream, because it all turns into sugar, glucose, whatever. If you are resistant to insulin, what is a food that you should probably avoid? What is a food that you should avoid, you guys? If you said carbohydrates, you would be correct. You would be correct. You would be correct. If you're like, oh my God, Robin, your brain needs carbs. You have to eat a loaf of bread to make your brain do math every day. I would tell you, no, you don't. You do not. There's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. They are wonderful. I mean, obviously, our brains, like our bodies, burn carbs first, right? But your body is also so amazing that it will create the minimum necessary, like the actual, all of the glucose that it needs from like amino acids that it eats. So as long as you're eating protein, like viable, protein sources, and fat, your body will, your liver will create the glucose needed for your brain to function and your blood cells to like multiply or whatever via gluconeogenesis. So gluconeogenesis is the process of your body creating glucose on its own from like other than carbohydrate sources, and mostly through protein. So there's your little science lesson today. Okay. You do not need carbohydrates. They are nice. They're especially nice if you like work out or if you're like a runner. But and be honest with yourself, be fucking honest with yourself. If you are sedentary, you do not need carbohydrates. You need a smaller amount of carbohydrates than like an athlete or a runner. If you are sedentary and then you're like, well, Robin, where do I get my energy source? Fat. I know. You're like, whoa. I've been told like eating fat is not good for you. Eating fat is like dangerous, blah, 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 blah. If eating fat was dangerous, like why is it an essential nutrient? I mean, obviously there are good fats and bad fats, sure. But if you're not, the only way that fat can be like extremely dangerous is if you're also like, first of all, you're fat as hell. Second of all, you maybe have type 2 diabetes or something like that, and you're eating a lot of sugar with the fat. So like if you're eating two types of energy sources, your body's going to obviously use the one that it like burns first. So like you're going to have your glucose is going to be like used first, and then your fat will be stored. So like if you're eating sugar and fat, you're going to obviously store fat. But if you're not eating any glucose or sugar or carbohydrates, you need an energy source. Your body will use the fat stored on your body, and then you can also eat fat to give yourself energy. And there you go, you guys. There you go. Got me anyway. As soon as I hit puberty, nothing changed about the way that I was eating or exercising, but it started a trend of uncontrollable weight gain, and that I'm still trying to figure out how to stop in my 20s. Okay, so baby, stop eating. Just kidding. Don't stop eating. Listen. All right. So there are 2 or 3 natural, like unstoppable times in our lives. 2 for women, 1 for male. Maybe 3, because I think maybe when you're a baby, you're also insulin resistant, where you are insulin resistant. So like naturally during times of growth, like when you're going through puberty, your body will naturally become insulin resistant so that you can grow taller. Like, because again, it is an anabolic. Why do I keep saying anabolic? It is an anabolic hormone, meaning it is a growth hormone. So when you're going through puberty, help you grow, and then when you are pregnant, it is easier for you to become insulin resistant. That's why they're always checking out for gestational diabetes. Although I do have a theory that like gestational diabetes is probably not as crazily bad. I don't know. I don't know if anybody who's had complications from gestational diabetes more than they're just like concerned about it. So if you've been pregnant and you had gestational diabetes, did you have complications from that, or were you just being watched? Because I have a feeling that if it's so easy for people to become diabetic, like when during gestation, which is when you're pregnant, maybe that's just the body's way of like ensuring you have a big baby. Because big babies, I think, big babies. Do I mean big babies? Like nobody wants a 20-pound baby, but like a nice healthy baby back in like caveman times, if you had a 9-pound baby when you were in caveman times, the baby probably lasted a little bit longer. I don't know. I'm just guessing. We're just spitballing, you guys. We're just talking, okay? I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, you do become naturally insulin resistant during times of growth. So puberty, pregnancy, because you got to grow a baby. You got to grow a baby in you. Okay. Oh, so in what I'm saying is that this person has had a trend of uncontrollable weight gain, and they're still going through it in their 20s. So my advice to them would be like, okay, so what you're eating is no longer working for you because your body has changed. So you need to do some research and figure out what is a way that you can eat and be full and not gain weight. Let's stop the weight gain first. So I'm not saying that they should probably go like on a super low calorie restriction program, but maybe find some foods that work best for them. I would always recommend people and again, I'm not a nurse or anything like that, but like if you're struggling with insulin resistant, like the best tool in your pocket is a diabetic, like a glucometer to check your blood sugar, and then start testing foods that like start testing meals. So at lunch, check your blood sugar, eat your meal, check it again an hour later and see if there's any kind of like insane spike. And then check it a couple hours later and see if it's gone down any. If it hasn't gone down any, whatever you're eating in that lunch, or if it's still like high, whatever you're eating in that lunch is not working well for you. And again, it's you if you've got I just don't think that it's a bad thing to say anymore. If you've got insulin resistance, you cannot stop gaining weight. You're storing fat. You need to stop eating carbs, right? You need to focus on protein. And you probably should start timing your meals as well. Maybe skip a meal. All right, how is this helpful? It is good for her and her daughter to be exercising either way and wishing her all the best in her journey because expectations need to be set with realistic goals. What? Not being obese is a realistic goal that you should only become not oh wait, hold on. Not being obese is a realistic goal that would only become not realistic is you had a handful of medical conditions that the creator did not mention that they have. Okay. So, not being realistic if you had a handful of medical conditions. Listen, I'm really trying my hardest to get out of the obesity realm, I guess. It is difficult. I do have medical conditions that make it difficult. Like I have Hashimoto's, which apparently I don't mention enough on the channel, but I do have Hashimoto's. I have PMOS, PCOS, but now PMOS. And although I have reversed insulin resistance. Like I'm no longer insulin resistant, which is kind of cool to see. Like, I mean, I had, like cake and stuff at a wedding this weekend, and, my blood sugar went down pretty well, even with alcohol in my system. Like it's kind of cool to see that my body was able to like fix itself. But that said, the next day I was still having, a little bit too much carbohydrates, and it does take a little bit of time because I have insulin resistant like PMOS. So I have like I grow cysts or follicles on my ovaries that can increase insulin resistance. So like although on paper I'm insulin resistant, I think my body still has insulin resistant tendencies, if that makes any sense at all. Because I don't think there's no cure for PMOS. It's just like treatment and like symptom reduction. I have to eat well all the time, and I cannot fuck around or I will have to fix it. But anyway, I'm on a fast right now to make sure that my blood sugar goes back to normal. All right, short sedentary people exist, and if someone's maintenance is 2,000 schmalaries, then 1,500 to 1,600 is perfectly fine for a deficit. Harsh truth for the girlies. Let me unbrainwash you. 1,600 calories is the recommended caloric intake for a 7-year-old girl, not a grown adult woman. So I don't personally count schmalaries. I count macros, which is, I guess, in a way counting schmalaries, but I mostly pay attention to like, I don't pay attention to the numbers more than I do like the percentages. So I want my fat ratio, my fat and protein ratios to kind of, I'm focusing more on those. And then I just need to make sure that my carbohydrates are under 20 grams of carbohydrates per day, and that's it. There's less like math and brain work there. It's mostly focusing on like my fat intake. And then what I do follow is my glucose. So like if my glucose is over a certain amount, then I don't really need to, I need to like let my body use up and soak up that glucose before I add anything else into the tank. Does that make sense? Like if my glucose is high, like this morning it was higher than I wanted it to be. So I'm fasting until that glucose level is like, my muscles soak that up, and then we'll be good. But anyway, I feel back to the schmalaries. I feel like 1,700 is 16 or 1,700 schmalaries like a lot for a child. I feel like that is a lot because like when I was doing so I'm 5'4", my maintenance is like 1,800. It's somewhere around there, like 1875 or something like that. Like that's a very rough. It's been a while, me checking. So like a 500 schmalary deficit would be like 1,385. So a 7-year-old eating 1,600 calories feels like that is going to be a growing amount. Like they'll grow maybe. I don't know. I don't have kids. I don't know. Are they required to eat more schmalaries because they're growing? Somebody let me know in the comments below. Okay, Facebook friend keeps posting these. Oh my God. Have you guys noticed that more people are unhinged on Facebook? Like I know that I'm 35. Most of the people in my group, like my age group, do post on Instagram. But when they post on Instagram, it's more or less just like stories or like just like a photo dump of life updates. Anybody who's posting anything other than that are like my influencer friends or my friends in the keto community who make content or stuff like that, right? But I noticed that my friends from like high school who do post on Facebook, it's crazy stuff like this. Like it's either this kind of stuff, like where it's just like fascists, or it's like just other crazy like political stuff. Do you know what I mean? Okay, let's read. Fascists fucking hate fat people because to them we're living a symbol of degeneracy, and and that's yet another reason you should love and support us.
You should love fat people because they're degenerate pieces of shit.
That's basically how I read that. If I had a quarter for every time I've seen some Nazi use genocidal and dehumanizing language talk about fat people, particularly fat women, I'd have enough money to buy one of those nice soaking Japanese bathtubs. Again, they're using terminology from other groups, other minorities, other marginalized groups to blanket their movement with protection. So last week I posted a video about the fat acceptance community appropriating the term genocide. They say that any type of weight loss or like the use of weight loss medication is genocidal. And now they're talking about how people, Nazis, are using genocidal and dehumanizing language to talk about fat people. Where's the example? First of all, I don't do that. I mean, I'm not a Nazi, but like, I don't think I dehumanize fat people. I think that sometimes they dehumanize themselves. Like, for example, they do like to use the term exist in fat bodies.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but fat bodies are gym bodies.
Specifically people in larger bodies. The level of anxiety and difficulty it is to continue to exist in a large body.
I'm gonna do my best to not use the O word because I find it pretty offensive. So I'm gonna use fat bodied as we talk.
Right? They separate a lot of the times their bodies from the self.
They're just fucking arms. They're fucking arms. Squishy squish. I love it. I love it. I love you. I'm sorry I tried to hide you.
Which I feel like is weird. But as we've learned in the last episode, that anytime that you use terms like bodies or...
That's not just offensive language. It's a deliberate tactic. Because once your brain stops seeing someone as fully human, it stops caring what happens to them. That's how you get ordinary people to do extraordinary harm. You don't call them people, you call them bodies.
Anything to separate the person from the body from the soul, or basically anytime you do something like that, that's dehumanizing nature. And so basically they're being genocidal towards themselves. I would say though that the fat acceptance community is sort of genocidal towards themselves. Let's just be honest with you guys, with each other, because 75% of the country is obese and people die every day from complications of obesity, and they are promoting obesity. The fat acceptance community they glamorize and promote obesity.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Explain to me how I'm glorifying obesity. I have a master's in public health and I actually studied obesity.
They tell lies. They say that there's nothing wrong with being obese.
Because when you look at the facts, fatness is not causal for many of the things that people consider fat diseases. They're just not.
Obesity is not related to health. Your body size is not related to health.
Higher body size does correlate with higher rates of certain diseases, but we don't have any evidence that the higher body size is causing those diseases.
Which are blatant lies and mis and disinformation. So, in a way, they're kind of committing their own genocide, and I would say that is a pretty good thesis and dissertation. All right, so how many people die every year of obesity-related diseases? In 2021, higher than optimal BMI caused an estimated 3.7 million deaths from non-communicable diseases such as cardiovascular, diabetes, cancers, neurological disorders, chronic respiratory diseases, and digestive disorders. Now, I wonder if that number is so... you guys can't see that. I wonder if that number is so large. I mean, can we say that every person... I wonder how much of that number is just people dying who were overweight rather than like those... The things that caused the death were overweight caused.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Does that make sense?
Everyone in this room is now dumber.
So I wonder if the number is so large because those people were overweight. Not that like, say for example, they had lung cancer and were overweight. Not obesity doesn't cause lung cancer. Does that make sense? So I wonder if that's the number. All right. So I am on the World Health Organization's website. This is from 2021. Obesity has reached epidemic proportions globally, with at least 2.8 million people dying each year as a result of being overweight or obese. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of math. All right. So we have the real fat genocide, and here's what we know. 2.8 million people die each year. I want to know how many since 1980. Let's give it a round and modest number of 2.5 million each year. And we're going to say that's from 2000 to 2021. I'm being super modest because I don't want people to be like, you're over conflating, because it's still going to come out to a crazy number, you guys. It is still going to come out to a crazy number. Okay. So 2.5 million each year since 2000, 52.5 million people since the 90s. We're going to go ahead and cut that in half because we know the statistic is it has doubled since the 90s. The obesity rate has doubled since the 90s. We're going to cut that in half. 1.25 times 10 years of the 90s, 12.5 million people. Now, in the 80s, I'm going to go ahead and just be modest and say, let's just say 75,000 per year. That is 72.54 million people since the 80s. I would say that those are pretty genocidal numbers, right? And since this is a self, induced disease, obesity is a disease, I would say that it is suicidal. Is that a little too much? It's a little too much, Robin. I might have to cut this entire thing out. I haven't heard the term fatphobic offenders before. The FA language keeps growing. Dude, it does. They are fucking stealing. They're stealing from other marginalized groups or like people who struggle, like other groups who are struggling. Let's listen. A lot of the worst fatphobic offenders are the other fat people, formerly fat people, and people act surprised and feel like they can't call them out on their behavior. This is a world who hates fat people and wants to get rid of them, so it is really surprising they're pushed into hating themselves and other bodies and are now perpetuating that onto others who seemingly don't. They're doing thin people's work for them, and it hurts more that way. Don't be afraid to call out fat phobia no matter who it's from. It's never okay to body shame people. Except they body shame thin people all the time. They actually mentally shame thin people. I've seen a lot of people in the fat acceptance community, especially like these are a lot of these are picked from like Tumblr, and they shame a lot of people like with mental disorders like pandysrexia. Like, can you imagine not being so sick as to being pandysrexic and people thinking that you're like an evil person for that? I don't know. It makes me feel kind of sad. Because honestly, like, these people are struggling. Like, you can look at Eugenia Cooney. You think Eugenia Cooney hates fat people? I don't think so. Do you think so? I don't think so. She seems like a nice lady to me. I feel kind of bad for her. I feel sad that like we're all watching her unalive herself, basically. Is it her though, or is it her mom? That's another subject for another fucking episode. To be for real. But let's keep going. Fat phobic offenders. Doesn't it feel like, what is that term that cults use against people who are like against your cult? What is that? What's that word? Oh, deflectors? Defector. I was right. Okay, defector. So fat phobic offenders, it's ringing that in my head. Defectors are other formerly fat people who act surprised and feel like they can't call them out on their behavior. So a lot of the worst defectors of our fat acceptance cult are people who have found safety and leaving the cult, leaving the fat acceptance community. For example, Angelica Unfiltered left fat acceptance and they hate her for it. They hated her for it. This is a world who hates fat people and wants to get rid of them. We don't want to get rid of the people, you're more than your body, but like you losing weight is not like an erasure of your identity or of your, I know a lot of people would like to say that fatness is a big part of their identity, but it's not, it isn't. There's still a person underneath there. And a lot of them are like, there's not a thin person. Yes, there's a thin person in all of us. I'm not saying thin, but like there's a leaner person in everybody. We've got an energy problem, you guys. Not just like energy like oil and shit, but like we're putting too much energy in our bodies. Like we're putting too much like fat on our bodies. We're storing too much energy. Like let's we're so good at storing energy. Because we survived this long as a species that we had to figure out a way to store energy to survive famine. And now we've mastered surviving famine outside of our bodies. So like there's not going to be a famine, probably, knock on wood, but there's probably not going to be a famine. No, sorry, Polly. I knocked on the wood too hard. Come here, girl. It's me. I was just knocking on wood. Polly, no. There's not going to be another famine unless something absolutely terrible comes around. And I'm saying a famine in the United States. Like famine still happens other places, but like in the United States, I don't see it happening unless there's like, it's the end of the world, basically. So if there was a famine, the fat acceptance community would do a lot better than most people because they have a lot of stored energy, because their bodies have built their bodies have survived their ancestors survived a famine thousands and thousands of years ago. But anyway, listen. Where was I getting with that? Oh, we need to outsmart the body now. Like we need to like clearly we've got the food situation figured out. We're never going to go hungry, right? Now we need to figure out how to fix, the over storage of the energy, which obviously stop eating as much energy storing stuff. So if you're sedentary, stop eating as much carbohydrates. And if you're not sedentary, what makes somebody who's not sedentary get fat? Oh, they don't really, They don't. If you're not sedentary, keep it up. If you are sedentary, maybe not be sedentary or don't eat foods that store, right? You don't need you need a slower burning fat source. I know it sounds crazy, but you need a slower burning energy source. I know this sounds crazy, but you need an energy source that's going to sustain you for a little bit longer, which is going to be fat, obviously. Whereas like if you eat a lot of carbohydrates or a lot of sugar, that energy burns a lot faster, and it's just you're going to just be constantly hungry and keep eating and eating and eating. Your calories are going to raise, and obviously your insulin's going to raise as well and store fat. Isn't feederism unhealthy? Yes. What the fuck is this logic? Saying driving is unhealthy is crazy. I'm excited. All right. Isn't feederism unhealthy? Sure. So is driving a car, living in North Philadelphia, rock climbing, and taking Tylenol. But seriously, feedies who choose to put on weight assume some health risk. But there are ways to gain weight while maintaining relative health and fitness. For some feedies, the idea of becoming unhealthy or even immobile is part of the fantasy. For most, staying unhealthy while growing bigger is a priority. Listen. I rebuke it. Like, defending feederism is so fucking strange to me. It is an abusive fetish, you guys. And I don't think that we should obviously I'm all for like doing what makes you happy. But I will criticize. I will make fun. I will judge people who defend or even participate in feederism. It is an abusive fetish. People are dying, Kim. People have died from the complications of feederism. It has gotten to the point so bad where there is a BBW website where they talk about how people have died on it. So BBW Wikity. There is a category called deceased on here, and it doesn't talk, but like it just lists a bunch of famous BBWs, and they have died. 895 fucking pounds, you guys. I wonder who makes it. So BBWs and SSBBWs who have passed away. Eartha Quake. Great name. R.I.P. Eartha. But anyway, if your fetish that you were interested in had a wiki that had a deceased page, which maybe it's not, maybe it is a deceased page just because like, everybody dies. But like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the feederism community are like, there is such a thing as death feeders, So, icky, why are we defending feederism? I swear to God, you guys, it's kind of strange. Like, food really does have a hold of these people. It is food. It is just food. They want to eat what they want to eat. And it's sad. For most, staying healthy while growing is a bigger priority. I don't know of anybody who cared. Okay, posted by a dietitian. You aren't supposed to weigh the same as you did in high school or college. You're also not supposed to gain weight every year. Like, I think some people have this idea that you're just supposed to just keep gaining weight. We've normalized like weight gain with age, which is so strange to me because as far everybody that I've known that has been like an elder in my community or an elder in my family, except for maybe on my dad's side, they usually lose weight when they get older because you're not like absorbing as much nutrients. But I feel like because in modern day society, like our food is just built to just help you get fatter. That's why a lot of older people just keep getting fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. But no, there's this like idea in the fat acceptance community that it's okay to just keep gaining weight and you don't have to stop. People are concerned, what if I don't stop gaining weight? You don't have to stop gaining weight. It's perfectly normal to keep gaining weight, and it's not. Don't keep gaining weight. It is scary. Has the US medical education community accommodated FATLOGIC by teaching students to soften the message of personal responsibility for metabolic health? There is a need to move away from solely weight-centric approaches to healthcare to a health-focused, weight-inclusive one, assessing the effects of weight stigma in epidemiological, whoa, big word, epidemiological research is equally important. The ethical argument and evidence base for the need to reduce weight stigma in healthcare and beyond is strong. Although evidence on long-term stigma reduction is emerging, precautionary action is needed. I don't like haze. I'm clearly y'all don't either, but like haze in the medical system, I feel like it's doing more harm than not because healthy at every size doesn't exist. And I know that like some people think it's healthy at every size, like you can be healthy at every size. Some people it's like there is health at every size. What is it? What do you guys think? Is it health at every size or healthy at every size? My idea when I first heard about it, people thought that you could be healthy at any size. Now I do think that they're trying to find the best health at every size, and that everybody deserves health care at every size. It's kind of unclear to me, right? It's kind of unclear. I think a lot of people in the fat acceptance community are probably unsure because they're all kind of parroting each other. When you parrot a lot of the other people in different areas, you're going to play the telephone game, and then some person can say it's this, and then once it gets over to this person, then it's like a totally different meaning. But I would say because the obesity epidemic is so apparent that we do still need to be focusing on a weight-centric approach to healthcare because it is a great way, it's a great first line of defense to fight against disease. Especially since type 2 diabetes is so rampant. 74% of the country is obese and fat. So that's more than half, which is crazy. And I think we need to focus on weight to help disease control in this country. All right, you'd hope this is a troll post, but it's Tumblr, so like 50-50 odds it is serious. I'm not afraid to say this and scream this from the mountains. I hate all thin women. Thin women have done nothing but reinforce patriarchy, ED/diet culture, and toxic PDF-ilic beauty standards. Again, we hate that. We hate when they use that one. The PDF file argument that like thin beauty standards are created by PDFs when PDFs don't even want adult women, they want actual children. It's just a cope. And to me, it's even more of a disgusting cope because it's like you're coping this, you're saying this because you have zero control over what you put in your fucking mouth. So you are using the harm that is caused on children to feed yourself. You fat fuck. That's what I think in my head. I would never say that to somebody, but I'm saying it to y'all because we're friends. But I'm like, it pisses me off because it's like you are literally using actual pain and harm. You're using it's offensive. You're saying that people want, like, you're saying that the whole reason why there is a thin beauty standard is because of PDFs. But you're only using that because you just want to eat whatever you want. It's ridiculous and sickening. All right, I'm a good woman. Look how thin and dainty I am. I'm so small. I don't eat the biggest pick-me's in the world. Suck it. Suck my pee-pee. Thin women who are actively trying to gain more weight or muscle are obviously an exception. Why would you choose to be thin why would you choose to be thin? Listen, I don't really care to be thin. I want to be leaner, right? I do want to be healthy. Why would I choose that? Because I had fucking almost type 2 diabetes. I was pre-diabetic, insulin resistant. I almost got fucking cancer, right? 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 Unless you're a PDF or PDF fantasist, I can't. I can't. If I was in the same room with somebody and they said that shit, like, I think it would be justified in a court of law in Minecraft to do like a roundhouse kick on them. Or your fucking brain is eating itself. Baby, your brain is glycated. It is literally caramel. It's caramel. Fat liberation, fat acceptance, fat activist, fat activism, body positivity. Oh my God, body positivity, except unless you're thin, because fuck you. All right, one more and then we gotta call it a day. All right, I feel for this person and the mindset they live with, but the world doesn't care as much about them as they think they do. Our self-worth comes from within and accepting ourselves, and it's important to take care of our own mental and physical health. Absolutely. So like, yes, we've mentioned this before, nobody is coming to save you. And as an adult, assuming this person is an adult, you gotta take care of yourself, man. The realization of my situation has hit me really badly. No matter how comfortable I am with my body or as big or as small it can be, it will never be acceptable. Oof, somebody is unwell. But I know it's so much easier to move around the world the smaller you are, so I want to lose the weight, particularly for my health. I'm healthy but can do better, but also for my mental health because of how cruel people are. Okay. No, actually though, like if you do have a lot of excess adipose tissue on your body, it does affect your mental health because it is like hormonally active. So like all those excess hormones in your body can really fuck with your brain chemistry. So yes, losing weight will help. As far as like how cruel people are, sticks and stones, baby. Don't give a shit. I know it's easier said than done, but like people are cruel. Nobody's coming to help you out. But I feel like a lot of people nowadays, especially in 2026, people are a lot nicer than they were in 2000. Like I feel like if you're feeling this way now in 2026, like girl, you did not grow up in the early 2000s when people were like awful to especially kids. Like I'm not sure how old this person is, but like especially kids. Partially for my health, I'm healthy but can do better. Okay, they don't see me, they see my weight. Make assumptions before I've even told them my name. It's exhausting to prove I'm capable of anything physical just like they are, sometimes even more so. Yeah, you know what's crazy? I've never looked at, I think I'm more as far as I think because I've lived in a fatter body and I know that like I'm pretty strong and I was strong in a fat body, not like upper strength strong, but like my legs are strong, you know? When I've looked at like fat people, I know that they can lift. Like I know that they can do a lot more than most people can do it. Even being flexible, right? Like obviously we've seen some people on my 600-pound life and they like are basically doing the splits all day. But I feel like I judge more thin or small people about their ability to do stuff because I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen like a tiny. I've anybody that I've known that has lived in a smaller body or like who has been thin, not very strong, not very strong. But they're not maybe they're not muscular, but I don't know. All right. I'm thankful I am loved and cherished by my husband for my body and brain, but the world doesn't care. I've taken pictures of my body and love every inch and curve and find comfort in me. Yet I always know the impact the world has on wanting me thin. I feel it in each chair that can't take my thighs and butt. In any table that is a tight space and can't move for my body, anywhere that is meant for smaller people, I feel it on my body. It is exhausting to live in a fat body that is in a world made for smaller people. Okay, so do something about it. Like, this is clearly a wake-up call. This is clearly a wake-up call. Like, you're absolutely correct. The world is made for, like, not even smaller people. The world is made for, like, just a normal amount of fats. Like, I feel like the fat acceptance community is constantly growing. We can't continue to, like, expand our tables and our buildings and our doors and all that jazz. Beds, yada, yada, yada. I feel like this is a wake-up call for this person. It doesn't sound like there's a lot left that they need to lose. They may be going into weight loss for the wrong reasons, so I'm not sure if their weight loss would be sustainable. So I know that when I I struggled the most when I was trying to lose weight for aesthetic reasons versus when I was trying to lose weight because it was actually medically necessary and an emergency, basically. So I feel like this person, not saying that I'm wishing an medical emergency on this person, but there are other reasons why you should lose weight besides like the world sucks. You know what I mean? Like there are other things like they mentioned, their mental health. It's a great reason to lose weight. Your mental health completely turned around. I'm no longer on my Wellbutrin. And that's just from, I mean, I was on my Wellbutrin for like the amount of time that I was maintaining my weight from when I was 220. So like 2 to 3 years. And I just barely started losing weight again. And I got off the Wellbutrin because I go back and forth on it. I go on and off it quite often. Because it's a great it's an NDRI, it's not an SSRI, so it's kind of like it's got a shorter half-life and it's easier for you to kind of like, if you need to. But yeah, I feel like they know that they can do better. And life is better when you are in a body that's easy to move around. Like when I was 220 pounds, I would wake up and it would be like I would wake up with sugar headaches all the time, but also like getting up, back pain, leg pain, my feet would get hot. Like it was just so uncomfortable being in a larger body. I'm still, I'm still obese. I still have, back pains from time to time, like, and now I can't even like have a cheat day without it feeling like a hangover the next day, but that's the consequences of my actions and I live with them. All right, everybody, that is our Fat Logic episode for the week. Tune back again this Friday. We will be jumping into a copium den. So I hope you guys have your notifications turned on. If you liked this episode, let me know below. What were your opinions, your thoughts, and did we disagree on anything? I know we probably must have. I know we have. We must have. If not, cool. We think very similarly, and I think that that's cool. If you made it all the way to the end, leave in the comments below. What should we leave? What should we leave? Leave a brain for Fat Logic. And if you liked the video, please like the video. Don't forget to hype it if it's giving you the option to hype. And subscribe. Did I say subscribe already? Go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe now. Notifications on all. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. I will see you on Friday, hopefully. And if not, I will see you around. Goodbye.
Last day I knew you were my pet. I wanna tell you that I love you.